joint podcast effort between Win, Lose, Tie, and We Try to Play Games. It's me, Jama. I'm here with Prof.
Hello. It's been a while since we've done anything on Win Lose Tie.
Yep. And then representing We Try to Play Games, we have PND
Hey.
and Marsh.
What the hell kind of intro was
That was P&D, P&D.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah,
we
we're
are
here.
to discuss our games of the decade. We each made up a small list of up to 5 games for each year. We're going to try to run through these kind of quickly, kind of try to talk about our favorite games that we'd played through those years, and see what happens here. So, before we begin, anyone have any thoughts? Like, I know for me, looking at this, 2017 was a hell of a year. To try to narrow this down to just 5.
Yeah, I can honestly see that.
I actually
2018
had
was
problems
for me
with
too.
2016 and 2018, but
Yeah.
most other years were fairly straightforward.
2016 through 2018 were hard for me.
Hell, I didn't even know for like 2015.
This year was hard for me. Never mind. The
I
last
will-
4.
I will put out there, though, that this has made me realize that I don't play nearly as many video games as I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work does that to you.
Either that or I just became jaded about video games.
I like to play a lot of the old games still, so there's that for me.
All right, let's just start in with 2010. For this one, we'll start with P&D. Run through your list and give us a little bit about each game.
Alright, so I started, one of the ones I chose was Donkey Kong Country Returns, and so back in the day I was never good at playing old Donkey Kong, even though I consider myself decent at platforming. And like to have them come back in such a triumphant way, because that game sold really well as it was a lot of fun to play. And throughout the entirety of the game, there's just constant references to the new game, to the old game, while also keeping it also like it's not the old game, it's something new, but it just references a lot with what happened with Tropical Freeze afterwards is it's a very different game, because there's more people, while it might completely invalidate Diddy Kong in Tropical Freeze as well, because Dixie Kong's just better. But the entire Return series as a whole, it's its own unique thing, separated from the original while still like keeping true to what it was aiming for. And I just really, really enjoyed the entirety of it.
Is
Okay.
that basically the same reason for Tropical Freeze on the list too?
Yeah, I decided to go through both of them since we talked about doing series as a whole.
Yeah, I did play a little bit of the Donkey Kong Country games on the Super Nintendo and never really played any others after that. But I'm gonna say the first one was definitely fun, but I did always like Dixie a lot better than anything else. I mean, she can fly. She's like Tails.
She's always been better in the games.
Oh, yeah.
She's just better.
The ability to just avoid falling in some holes is nice.
Exactly.
The
Or
ability to
slowly
go higher.
falling into a hole.
Yeah, because in Tropical Freeze, her hover also goes up for a few like seconds.
Oh, like Yoshi on Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, kind of similar to that, except for she's flat at first, then goes up, then starts floating down.
Oh, nifty.
Yeah. And another game from 2010 that was really good was to me was Sonic Colors. And while this also might be partial because of how much I like the soundtrack, if I'm being perfectly honest, it took Sonic, made it different. That's what 2010 did for me when I was playing games. Is it took games I loved before and then just changed them. If that makes sense.
Hopefully in a good way, because I've seen that happen a lot of times with some games where it's like, yeah, we're going to do something completely different, i.e. Final Fantasy 2.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh,
No,
I'm sure there are plenty of games we'll talk about.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Where it's like, they did something very different and we love it, or they did something very different and it's garbage.
So what did Sonic Colors do different that you really liked?
I really enjoyed, because if you had played like Sonic Unleashed prior, the one thing they had problem with doing any of the levels was the fact that they kept focusing on not modern Sonic and just doing like that and something else, whereas this one they focused on modern Sonic. Because they were doing everything in a way, because you have to keep in mind this was on the Wii, and I'm not saying the Wii is a bad console, I freaking love the console,
Oh yeah.
but it can't do as much as some of the other ones could, and what they were able to do with it as a Sonic game, it still made you feel like you were going decently quick.
Oh, they also released this on the DS, and that one is just basically Sonic Advance or Sonic Rush.
That's
that
true.
was just a 2D
Yeah.
platformer.
I completely forgot about that one.
Sonic has had a rough history making
Yeah.
the 3D transition.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
What's
And-
really weird is that it's also had some weirdness when it has split releases, because from what I recall of that time, the DS game was more well received because it was just Sonic Advance, like the Game Boy Advance games. And the same things happened with Sonic Boom. The 3DS one was like, hey, this is actually a good game because it was like a side-scrolling Sonic game with 3D graphics, whereas the Wii U one was a dumpster fire.
That happens a lot.
Oh, I bought that game. I bought that game.
Didn't Sonic Generations have a
It had a
Handheld?
colors level. Oh,
no?
yes,
Didn't it
it
have
did.
a handheld
And
version?
it was terrible
Yeah, it was terrible. But
because they got momentum wrong.
the actual console version was great.
Oh yeah, Sonic Generations is my favorite Sonic game ever. Because when you're playing modern Sonic, it makes you go fast, you feel fast, and you want to keep going. It's one of the few Sonic games where I've gone back on 100% everything without like caring about anything. I just kept going.
It definitely rewards you for doing what you want to be doing.
Yeah. Because I'm honestly not the biggest fan of 2D Sonic. As much as I like platformers, I really, really like modern Sonic. And playing Sonic Generations is like modern Sonic, and it's actually good.
And then
I-
there's Sonic Mania.
Sonic
Yeah.
Mania is my favorite Sonic game, and I think that's the game that made most of our lists.
I haven't
haven't-
played it.
I haven't played it either. I've heard nothing but
Oh.
good things about it, but yeah, one day.
Yeah, Sonic Mania made mine. It's one of the 2D Sonics that I do enjoy. Not saying I don't enjoy most of them, it's just I prefer. And Sonic Mania did a fantastic job of like capturing nostalgia while also, keep going.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's fun.
Studiopolis Zone is probably the best zone in any Sonic game.
Oh, I enjoy Studiopolis Zone. I don't think
Like-
it was the best, but it definitely gets up there.
So
Yeah.
the problem with the 3D Sonic games is that they tend to veer between like being too cute with trying their other things. Like, there's just a fundamental problem with Sonic in general. I find with 2D and 3D is that,
Yeah, they try too many gimmicks.
well, that and when you build a game around going too fast, but like the entire premise of Sonic is gotta go, like his whole thing is gotta go fast.
Yeah.
But then when you get towards later game, they are just like, no, nay. Vertical levels are now the way to go.
Oh yeah.
Go fast, except don't go too fast, because you'll
Yeah.
fly off the stage.
Or
Yeah.
we just put a wall here that forces you to go slow, or a wall of spikes, or something like that.
Yeah.
Then there's
so-
the atrocity of Sonic Forces.
I feel like Sonic Mania captures that. It has a lot of sections where you do feel like you're going fast. You're doing interesting platforming, at least, to make up for the fact that they're slowing you down.
Mm-hmm.
Prof, you had Sonic Generations on your list. Do you have a little bit to add about that?
I mean,
Or was it just good
I think we
game?
talked about it already. It was a solid game. I should go back and 100% it at some point. It's just
I'll
fun
race
to
you in
play.
it.
What was that, PND?
I'll race you in it.
Bring it. Just race all the Sonic games that we care to play.
You guys gotta finish your Mario game first.
I know, right?
Hey, we're getting there.
Speaking of Mario games,
Yeah, the next game on my list is Super Mario Galaxy 2. And while I know Prof will heavily disagree
I
with
will.
me here,
I will jump in as soon as you're done.
I I like Super Mario Galaxy 2 much better than Galaxy 1. I feel like they took what amazing game Galaxy 1 was and just simply improved upon it. I think the controls handle better, as well as all the new power-ups they give you are really cool. They put Yoshi in the game, and while that's actually like, it's kind of cool, but like it's not really necessary. Um, but everything I enjoyed about Super Mario Galaxy 2 is, and they improved upon Super Mario Galaxy 1. One of them is the hub world, because the hub world in Galaxy 1 feels really bland to me, and it's just like a level select, whereas go around, whereas Super Mario Galaxy 2, the hub world is Mario's face, and you get to just go have fun on Mario's face, and as you like advance through the story, things are constantly changing on his face. There's the big power up room. While that's only useful for when you first get a power up, it's still cool to like have something there and look at that. Then there's like when Luigi shows up, there's the Lumas, and then there's just so much stuff they added to the hub world that made it more interesting to me. I played on the hub world for like hours at one point for no other reason than to play on the hub world. And then all the levels themselves, I really, really enjoyed them. I enjoyed what they did with the bird. You have to like actually use the motion controls more, and I just had an overall amazing experience with the game.
See, here's the thing, PND. You can feel that way, but you're wrong about every single point. The hub world in Galaxy 1 was way better. Like, the hub world isn't just Mario's face in Galaxy 2. It's the track that is reminiscent of old Mario games, being able to go between the different levels. But, like, I much prefer being able to go to the
Rosalina's lookout.
Yeah, go into the lookout. It's a much larger area to explore. You have the red star to fly around, and then the physics in Galaxy 2 are like Luigi's physics in Galaxy 1 all the time, except you don't have the extra jump height from Luigi, and it's extremely frustrating to deal with. The new power-ups are pretty good. I'll give you that one. But they could have done so much more by continuing to use the old power-ups, which barely showed up in the game, and the giant purple Luma taking you out from the level select so often just to be like, oh hey, here's an NPC that doesn't matter, or oh hey, here's a power-up you can't use, is extremely frustrating. I hated that giant purple asshole.
And I've never played it, so I have nothing.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. There is one Mario game that I think we've all played, or at least most of us have played.
64?
Odyssey.
Oh, no. I haven't played Odyssey.
Oh, well, we have.
I would say, bar none, Odyssey is the best Mario game.
I agree completely, because everything handles so well.
The controls are fantastic. They finally figured out, like, the good thing about Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2, because it also had it, is that, like, in 3D space, it's really hard to judge where you're going to go. So they added a way to, like, course correct with the spin. Just like in Sunshine, they had Flood to course correct. But in Odyssey, using Cappy to course correct feels fantastic. It's not like, oh shit, I'm about to die, I better course correct. It's, let's
Look at this dope. Look at this dope trick.
Yeah, exactly.
Throwing Cappy off a building, and then just like long jumping onto him to get an even longer jump feels great.
The controls are so good in Odyssey.
I don't even, in Odyssey, it doesn't feel like I have to course correct. I know exactly where I'm going to go, and then Cappy just allows you to expand on that, which I think is the biggest part for me.
Not just that, unlike a Mario 64 or a Sunshine that takes you out of the world as soon as you find the objective, you just get to keep exploring, and there's so much to explore. It rewards you for doing, like, I wonder what's over there.
Odyssey is fantastic.
I wonder what happens if I just like slide down this hill. Oh, look, I gotta move. You're constantly rewarded for playing the game.
Or killed.
It's not to say I don't like the level design in Sunshine or Galaxy 1. I don't like the level design in Galaxy 2, but that's a separate thing because those levels all feel incredibly linear. But like Odyssey is basically open world Mario.
And it has honestly, there's something that happens in the city level in New Donk City, like the classic callback with the jump up superstar playing was
Yeah.
Oh
probably
yeah, that was.
one of my favorite moments ever playing a Mario game.
Mhm.
Can we just take a second and talk about how in New Donk City you can sit on a bench and hang out with a guy who will give you a moon.
Yeah, just for
Yeah,
chilling out.
Wow, that's actually kind of cool.
It's
they did so
fantastic.
much.
And
It's
seeing
literally
it in
just like
speedruns is hilarious because Mario just like yeets halfway across the map, lands on the bench, and just sits there for a second.
yeah, it's basically like taking a moment to rest or something, Moon or something like that. It's very good. One more Mario game looks like it made the list was at least mine and PND's was Mario 3D World.
I got
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I,
think I
I
have
actually
that in
I did
mind,
play
too.
that one.
I love Mario 3D World. It's not my favorite because Odyssey is, but like what they did with everything, it made it. I don't usually get to play co-op games with like my family and whatnot because they're like, but you're better than me. But like this game, I can play with my family and I have a good time messing them up.
Yeah, it
I
sounds
think
about
I
right.
think the thing I like about Super Mario 3D World is it's not a 3D Mario game in the way that every other 3D Mario game is. It's a 2D Mario game in 3 dimensions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. It's like playing it feels like playing Super Mario World, but you have an extra axis to move in.
Yeah, exactly. I
The
enjoyed the hell
power
out
ups in
of
it
it.
are also fantastic. Like the cat suit, I love the cat suit, and it's made its way into Mario Maker 2. And then there's the cherries.
Oh, cherries is amazing. I love having
Trying
multiples
to
and having
control
to deal with
multiple
that.
of a character. Plus, like in Mario 2, the Doki Doki Panic one,
Hmm.
each of the characters plays differently, and so you'll want to use different characters to try to beat different stages. I think when we were racing PND, we mostly used
Each,
Peach, but there were
each
some
and
levels where we would just be Toad and just go so fast.
Oh yeah, he's a fast little bastard.
Marsh, you sound like you had something you were gonna bring up about that one before the power up conversation got started. What's up?
I honestly don't remember.
Can we also talk
it's
for a second about
but
how much
spin.
there is in in 3D World?
There
Like
is a
Odyssey
lot.
has a ton of moons, but you can get through a lot of them very, very quickly. But Super Mario 3D World has a ton of green stars hidden everywhere,
Yeah.
and you have to go fairly far out of your way to get some of them. And
Oh,
on
and
top
then
of that, beating Bowser is like half the game. You
yeah,
have so
'cause
much afterwards.
we also talk about how the overworld was. I really enjoyed what they did with the
Oh yeah,
overworld
I love the overworld.
because not only does it help you like go to levels and like shortcuts if you find them. There's like little hidden things, like little pipes to give extra moon, or like you can go get coins off of like the question mark
terrain.
boxes. And
Yeah.
I just thought it was really cool to like have an interactive thing like that.
People have been wanting or hoping that with Nintendo porting a lot of stuff from the Wii U to the Switch, from a console that didn't sell a lot of units to one that's selling a bajillion,
Oh yeah.
that Mario 3D World gets a port.
If
I
they
hope
make a
so.
port with online capabilities, I will buy that up so fast.
Oh yeah, same.
I'll play it with you guys.
If they made a port without online capabilities, I'll still probably buy it.
Yeah, I'm
I
insane.
probably
but
wouldn't because I already have it.
I don't
I
like
just
setting.
wouldn't buy it up so fast.
Yeah.
The Switch for me is the perfect. I'm just gonna lay in bed and play a game. I'm gonna go around I play Pokemon while making dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the Switch, but that's a completely different topic.
Um, all right, not enough nice things to say about the Mario. Got a lot of love on our list this year.
Yeah,
Mario
these
has
last
always
10
just
years.
made solid games, except for Galaxy 2.
All right,
I
And
disagree, but-
Maker 2 until they. Well, actually, I haven't even gone back to that until they added the multiplayer. I've been looking forward to that.
I've
Oh,
heard
yeah,
the
I forgot about
multiplayer is
that.
not very good, but
No,
Maker
they
2 is
added in stuff.
okay.
Right.
yeah, the Link update is phenomenal. The Link update is so good. They added Mario Maker 2's on my list. I can talk about that. Cool. So I love the Mario Maker games because I like what people do with it. I like tinkering with it. I like playing levels that are just level-ass levels. I like playing the bad levels. I appreciate that people make the hard Kaizo levels. I really love puzzle levels and troll levels. That troll levels that play on your expectations and like, okay, I should be doing this. Oh, look, I got fucked. Stuff like that. They're basically like another form of puzzle level.
Mm-hmm.
With the new update that came out a couple weeks ago, it added Link as a power up for classic Super Mario Brothers, which adds so many new moves and abilities that it changes how the game plays entirely.
Oh, so it's not like the first one where you just had a different skin.
Link can use bombs,
throw bombs,
arrows,
you can shoot arrows, you can stab.
Dash boots.
Okay, that's pretty freaking cool. I need to get back into that.
You can hold down to block a thwomp coming at you, or with a new enemy, the Spike. Spike got added from Mario 3.
Oh.
He'll throw the ball at you, or he can throw the giant ball if he's a big one. In snow levels, he throws a snowball instead. They added pokies. Like, your arrow as Link can interact with P-switches and POWs.
Yeah, that's pretty nifty.
The game is just... It's a canvas game. It's basically Little Big Planet, but jacked up a couple... with a Mario IP. It's not as powerful as Little Big Planet editor is, but... Nintendo's ethos of make this accessible to everyone. It's a really simple editor that people can do a lot of stuff with.
Legend of Zelda Maker when, please?
Yeah, they tried that. It's called the Dungeon Maker
in Link's Awakening.
That people didn't like because it was limited.
Yeah, I the problem is the limit in it.
Yeah, we have a tangentially related. We'll wait on that one. That's something completely different. All right. We have a PND-esque game here on the list.
Yeah, we have Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. And, yes, I am the weeb out of the group. But if you ever played Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 1, you'll understand why Ultimate Ninja Storm 2 is so much better. So Ultimate Ninja Storm 2 takes point of the beginning of Shippuden to the end of the Pain arc in the Naruto Shippuden series. And everything it does, it feels like a good fighting game, which is something that Naruto had tried previously with the Naruto Ultimate Ninja series. It made an arena fighter that people enjoy, because they made it feel good, as well as one of the biggest parts in Ultimate Ninja Storm 2 that really captivated me while playing through the story was the boss battles. Every time you play a boss battle, you feel good about beating it. It does also help that, I'm decent at quick time events, so I get to see all of the cool things play out first try, because I know a lot of people don't like quick time events, especially in something like a fighting game. But if you're doing the quick time event and it works, you get to see some amazing animation they did with that, especially for its time. And I played it recently, and it still holds up for me today. And then in the story, they have this big overworld that you can go and explore, and it's still interesting, and there's more stuff to do. They have a little doll system, so every character has an evil doll of itself. While it's simple, it gives you more stuff to do. It provides a lot of challenges for you, and there's just so much more to do than what is there, and you can go replay everything, and it's a great time.
Heck yeah.
And then to build on that, since we're going through series at a time, I also put Storm 3 on the list. And while Storm 3 does keep the hub world for itself, it added a lot of other things to the series. It added things like arena battles. So while it is an arena fighter, it's always just one-on-one with not including your assists when you have one of your other characters come in and do a move. But there are multiple people on the field, and it's aside from one boss battle, and I hate that boss battle to the day I die, everything feels really smooth about changing between the target, and every move you use still feels like you're making an impact on the fight with the system, and I think they did a fantastic job with that.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that you said you're not much of a fighting game fan, right?
Me, I am a big fighting game fan.
I'm not
I'm
much of a
surprised
fighter
Dragon Ball
fan.
Fighter Z didn't make your list.
There was enough games that like I really enjoyed other stuff.
All right.
Because that was 2016 or 2017.
2018.
Yeah, I had too much shit I enjoyed.
Okay. The last game on your list is on 3 of our lists.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
There's a reason why it's not on
Fantastic
my
game.
list, and the reason we'll talk about it.
You mean Terra's boss fight?
Uh,
I remember that.
God.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep is a fantastic Kingdom Hearts game. Like along with, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, it has solid gameplay. They introduced new things that made it even into Kingdom Hearts 3. Everything they did. And the story, for at least to me, actually kind of makes sense in that game compared to some of the other ones. I'm not sure how other people feel about that.
That's pretty fair, but Birth by Sleep is the first one chronologically.
Yeah. It gives
Yeah.
a lot of back lore. It gives a lot of lore to
Yeah.
help out the series.
Oh yeah. So, I'm in the Birth by Sleep is good camp here. I liked playing as the different characters that all have the different playstyle. I like the link system where your bonds with the different characters can power you up and change how your character plays. I even like playing Fortune Street to power up my abilities and fuse them together. So
Oh yeah.
I did
Oh yeah,
not
that
play
was
that
fun.
that much.
you could get really powerful or really fast with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I also like the ability to be like, oh, look, I equipped the HP plus ability that's on my Fire spell, and I've used it enough so now it's a permanent bonus, so I don't have to keep Fire equipped. Cool. I guess I'll use that to get something else now.
Yeah, the skill system in the game was really interesting, and I like it. It was kind of annoying needing to do it 3 times.
Yeah, I can understand that to a point.
My big problem with the game was needing to go through the same grind 3 times. And then on top of that, just like the characters, they all play very slightly differently. And some of them are, and by some of them I mean Terra, are just so much worse.
Truck.
Terra is awful. I hate him. I hate playing as him.
Oh, he's fundamentally different than every other Kingdom Hearts character that you've play as.
I like going fast and beating things up.
Yeah, like Roxas, Sora,
Roxas is so nice to
Ventus,
play.
and Aqua,
And Aqua.
are fast.
Yep.
Like Terra, you're bull rushing shit.
Yeah. And I mean, I also didn't play this until the 2.5 release. So some of the quality of life things were fixed for that. So I know there were issues that in the PSP version that I would have had that I just didn't have in the PS3.
Mhm.
I also have some issues with the PS3 in general, but that's mostly just like streaming and recording off of it is a pain in the butt.
Oh yeah, you can't do it off of
Loading
HDMI.
times.
Yeah, as someone who's been streaming PS3 games lately, I feel ya.
No, I've completely given up. Like I was trying to get through Okami, and every time I tried to stream it, it took me like 30 minutes to just get it to work, and it's
Yeah.
like I'm done. I'm not fighting this anymore.
Yeah, I had to get a special cable to stream. So
Yeah,
Yep.
because from what I found out, at least, well, I guess we're going off track a little bit, but I guess it is at the same point. When streaming off of the PS3, it cannot use the HDMI cable.
yes,
Yeah,
it's
I just used other.
Yeah, you
It's-
have to use a component or component preferably, or I guess if you have a composite one.
so
but-
here's
for
the
S-Video.
reason for
Oh.
that. It has the HDIC or whatever, the DRM
Mhm.
is built into the system specifically. It's
Yeah.
not software like on the PS4. On the PS4, it's an option to just toggle it off so you can stream, but then you can't open like Netflix or whatever because
Yeah.
But on the PS3, you either have to use an HDMI splitter to like remove that protection to kind of dummy it into thinking you're doing the thing, or you have to use another port.
There was another reason why I didn't put Birth by Sleep in my list, and I was trying to just limit how many times I put a single series in my list, because there was also Dream Drop Distance, which I really
Amazing.
liked. I liked having a portable game. I kind of wish the Pokemon aspect of it, of capturing new monsters and training them, was more streamlined, because like you get a handful of creatures in like the first world, and then you will never capture anything ever again because it's just not worth training them up.
Yeah.
But I did
It-
enjoy Dream Drop Distance. It was fun. The story was all right. It was
That one's
that-
on my list of things to play. I have the collection for the PS4.
2.8.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
story so far thing. So
I really want to play it on the PS4, which I have it. So
Yeah.
then there was 2.8, which had Dream Drop Distance and the point 2.
Aqua
Which-
prequel.
Yeah, the Aqua prequel was weird.
it was okay.
Yeah.
I never got to it actually. I
And
need to
have-
do that one of these
I
days.
have I'm missing the only Kingdom Hearts game I don't have now because of that is 3. So
I kind of
run-
wish that they remade some of the DS games because I liked them. Instead, they remade the card one again, and it's like,
Oh,
stop, please.
Chain of Memories.
yeah, 358 over 2 is just shown on the collection as a
As a bunch of
cutscene compilation.
That game was
Yeah.
good. I really liked the other DS one, and I know a lot of people didn't. Coded.
Oh,
Recoded is
Recoded?
on there. Recoded
Yeah,
is.
but it's just cutscenes.
I thought it was playable.
No. It's
Okay.
just cutscenes on the 2.5 disc, I think.
That 2.5 was the. No, you're right. Never mind.
And then there's Kingdom Hearts 3, which has DLC coming out next month,
Yep.
which was supposed to be out already.
I will say this about Kingdom Hearts 3. It's a very, very pretty game.
It is. I actually think it's a very solid game. The only problem I have, it has too much going on in combat. Like, if you cut out the attraction system completely, just cut it all out, except for maybe the stuff you have to use against bosses, or just rework the stuff you have to use against bosses, the combat system would flow much better. Because the number of different things that go on with the triangle button in that game it makes my head hurt.
My problem with the game is you can beat the entire game on hard mode by just hitting the X button
You're not
a whole
wrong.
bunch of times.
The game's difficulty in the base game, which they did add a difficulty later.
It added critical, and I might play it at some point.
Yeah, the base game difficulty is not very high, despite having a hard mode.
My other problem I have with the game is every world Sora forgets what he's doing.
Yeah, the story definitely felt really rushed. That's the other bad thing about the game. It's like they were trying to rush through, and some of the new worlds just have no like innovation in them. Like, I love Toy Story.
Toy Story.
The Toy Story world was great. The Monsters
Tangled was great too.
Monsters Inc. was great. Tangled was okay. The problem I had with Tangled is it basically went through the Tangled movie. Frozen was bad.
I'm not gonna disagree with you.
At least in Tangled, Sora interacted with the characters. In Frozen, he didn't. Like, you could cut Sora out, and it's just the Tangled movie. Like,
You're right.
he did nothing.
Yeah, but I can't argue with that. Tangled is my favorite Disney movie, which is why I'm probably
The
biased
other problem I had with Kingdom Hearts 3 was the final bosses. They were really obnoxious.
You see, you say that, but so when I was playing through the game, I didn't realize that you got more magic or upgraded magic. I thought it just upgraded on your button, and it didn't. And I could take out 3 boss health bars with just blowing my magic, and then everything became simple.
I mean,
Alright.
maybe I should have just used magic more.
Marsh, what did you think of Birth by Sleep? That game was on your list, and I don't know if you mentioned much about it.
Well, I mean, a lot of the key points I liked were already brought up. I did enjoy the being able to craft your items, your skills and whatnot, meld them together, make better ones. There was a lot of grinding in that for me, uh, but I do that in a lot of these games I play. I'd say the one thing I did realize is that the hardest mode on that was not really all that difficult. Because first time picking it up on the PSP when I got it, I just went for the hardest mode just to see. And I had very little issue on that whatsoever.
You also had Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 on your list.
Yeah, but that pretty much all goes together.
Yeah, fair. Anything else you wanted to add about Kingdom Hearts in general?
Aqua was a squishy bitch in the very beginning.
You're not wrong.
It's like in the very first world, I think it was the Cinderella one. Yeah.
Her block ability was so strong though.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I know once I did a little bit of grinding in the first world, it's like, okay, cool, this is manageable now. Granted, I mean, I was playing on the hardest difficulty, but
Yeah.
it's like, okay, now I don't feel like if they look at me in the wrong direction, or wrong way, or sneeze, or cough, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Terra was slow as hell. He was definitely the worst of the three. That was already brought up, so I can't really argue with that. I didn't think it was as bad, but I definitely understand how. I understand your feeling on that one.
All right, Prof, let's head over to your list because it's one entry deep.
Yeah. The only game I remembered from 2010 that I actually played through for that was released then was StarCraft 2. I felt like StarCraft 2 was a very solid sequel.
Specifically, Wings of Liberty, because they released that as...
Well, I'm just including all
Yeah,
of the campaigns in
that's
this.
fair.
I really liked that each of the campaigns was a solid campaign for that specific race. Like StarCraft 1, you have 8 missions on each of the 3 races. And sure, it's a solid story, but it feels really rushed because you are switching after so few missions. Whereas StarCraft 2, you have 30 some missions on each, and there's side plots, and you make actual tactical decisions for how to upgrade your troops. It felt really good. And then of course there's the user maps, which
No,
StarCraft has very good user maps.
that was the
Oh, yeah.
selling point of StarCraft 1. I played more custom maps in StarCraft 1 than I ever did the campaign.
Oh, same.
How often did we play Poker Defense?
Yes.
Poker Defense is very good. It's one I've played a lot. I actually used to play an old map that my friends modded, actually, after a time. It was originally Duelist Kingdom in the original StarCraft. It was basically... It was a Yu-Gi-Oh thing where you constantly were generating base units, but then as you accrued kills, you could
Yeah.
send them in combination, like civilians up at the top in specific combinations to summon hero units.
Yeah, then there's the income defense maps.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's all kinds of great maps that
Man.
people came up with.
To be honest, I want to play some of that now.
StarCraft
I know,
2
right?
seems like it was a good sequel. It was basically the type of sequel that's more. It's what the first game was, but more.
It's more of what you want.
Yeah. Unlike Mario Galaxy, which was the first game, but more in a bad
It was
way.
the first game with some DLC.
But here I am
DLC.
just disagreeing in the corner over here.
Well, I've got I've got
I know.
nothing in either corner for that one. But no, what I was thinking of was just the whole DLC thing. That never used to be a thing.
Yeah, it did. It was called expansion packs, and it was $40.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about, Super Nintendo 64. Oh, I guess there was an expansion pack, but
Majora's Mask.
gross.
Well, that's because consoles were never connected to the internet like computers.
The
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Country games are kind of DLC.
Yeah.
like 2 and 3.
Yeah, but I mean, altogether, they're still like long enough to like be their own game.
Yeah,
How about
I'm not saying they weren't
included
worth their money.
DLC?
It's
Oh
just
yeah,
DLC is
It's
it's something
wildly
that's both good and bad,
inconsistent about
depending
what
on how it's used.
oh yeah.
like. If there was DLC for Persona 5 that added a new dungeon, hell yeah, buddy.
I mean,
I'm
I'm
still-
rebuying Persona 5 because of the Royale.
Well, yeah, that's just a new bunch of new shit too. Anyway, we'll get. Marsh,
We'll get to that.
Your list.
That's something we'll get to.
Yeah. Okay, so I know, yeah, of course, top thing I had on there was Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Next thing I had on there was Dante's Inferno. I'll be honest, I don't remember a whole lot about the damn game.
I just remember it had a really intentionally like grotesque and trying to be edgy marketing campaign.
Yeah, you know, I mostly just enjoyed beating the hell out of shit. That was my favorite part of the game. That and this isn't a favorite part, but the whole, I guess, when you fight, what is it, Satan at the very end, and you're just watching his like fucking dangly ass cock around there. That was a little awkward, but I mean, oh hell.
Does anyone have a Devil May Cry game on their list? Because
I
that would
do.
segue. Oh
I
yeah, you
have
had
Devil May Cry 5.
All right, we'll get to that. I was just mainly making a joke because it's the same. Like I'm kicking the shit out of things.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I only have like 1 or 2 games that are like that on that list. I don't play them too often, and when you get one, you really don't need a bunch more. Because I got Hyrule Warriors on there too.
Oh yeah, we will talk about Hyrule
Oh
Warriors.
yeah, we'll get to
All right.
Zelda.
What's next, Marsh?
Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Hell yes.
Those, like, as far as the remakes go, like, I did thoroughly enjoy the first set of remakes, Fire Red and Leaf Green. They weren't, I mean, they were
were all right.
essentially the same game, roughly,
Yeah.
with the new updates.
Yeah.
But, like, I thoroughly enjoyed just one little aspect of the game. Your top Pokemon was running behind you the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, if I could get me a Wartortle, that he's always up on top. I guess he might die, but he's always up on top.
I also really enjoyed Heart Gold Soul Silver, but because I'm trying to limit the number of times each series shows up on my list, I didn't put it down.
Right.
There is one thing I had issue with it that
Gold
wasn't
Flip.
in the original, and that was needing to go and fight the legendary of the box. Because I had Soul Silver. And going down to fight Lugia is awful, and I hated it.
Oh yeah, because that's what I had too. I didn't have Heart Gold. I had Soul Silver.
Didn't you need Defog for that area too?
No, you didn't need Defog.
That was Gen
You needed Whirlpool and Surf and Strength.
and Waterfall. Maybe not Waterfall.
Other Pokemon games. Black and White 2. Andy,
I enjoy.
You probably have a lot to say about Black and White 2.
I enjoy Black and White 2 enough to the point. So when Black and White 1 came out, I'm just going to say it's a bad game, and I think
Yeah.
most people here agree.
I will wholeheartedly agree with that.
I enjoyed it.
Black and White 1 is probably my third favorite Pokemon game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I enjoyed Black and White 1.
Huff my shorts.
The problems I have with Black and White 1 is that a lot of the Pokemon are just like, oh hey, we need a new Machop because we don't want to reuse Machop.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that. Like, what was it, Timber?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about the ice cream and the piece of garbage?
Oh,
I liked
you mean
them.
Muck? You mean Muck?
I actually liked them. Those were my favorite designs of Black and White.
But that aside, we're talking about Black and White 2. So Black and White 2 took the previous game and was like, hey, let's make it good. And they slapped a fresh patch on it.
Yeah.
And you got to see a whole bunch of things from Black and White 1 and how they changed after the events of Black and White 1.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's good
also
now
a
because
direct
you can
sequel,
access
which is
old
nice.
Pokemon.
No, I'm talking about, you look at Sharon and whatnot. He goes from this not the best rival to a gym leader, and you see him change and mature, and then you see Bianca change because of she's now an assistant to the professor, or more of one.
Yeah, it's an actual sequel rather than
Yeah, that's something we don't typically
what Ultra
get.
Sun Ultra Moon did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
never finished those two, so I'm sure we'll get to it.
yeah, and in addition to that, I enjoyed what they were doing with Team Plasma and like how it ended but came back, but like how it came back made a lot more sense than what they were doing prior. At least in a sense to me because of the whole storyline. Because I understand the story aspect of Black and White One was one of the few things I was like, okay, they're actually talking about stuff. I'm like, that's cool. But then the rest of the game I felt like was really tedious and boring. Whereas this one, they added more things, more puzzles. They introduced the first time where you like, I guess I forgot about Shelter, or no, Slow Poke, which is the one that has to evolve with the Shelter
Slowpoke.
party.
Balls with the
That's
Slowpoke.
only in the
Oh.
anime, though. In the game, it's
the
Waterstone or King's Rock trade.
the thing is, the game says it evolves with Shelter.
Yeah.
Also, Slowpoke evolves to Slowbro at level
Oh,
37.
level, not a
Yeah.
Waterstone.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
I didn't remember.
And yeah, also with the anime, it's always a shelter for both ones. It just depends on if it bites its head or tail.
Yeah.
I always thought that was kind of
That's how
comical.
the games explain it too, which makes no sense.
Right, because
But
it's like,
whatever.
shelter here. I don't have a shelter. We're in my room. Where did this come
I
from?
gave you candy. How did you get a shelter?
Magic.
And then there's Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I
Yes.
really personally, I really liked the post game of those.
You mean just playing Emerald normally?
No, because you
The Delta
actually have
episode.
Deoxys.
Oh, I know.
The whole Delta episode seemed much bigger than the post game of the other
Yeah.
one.
I liked that it had a post game.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I never finished that one. I have it. I have all 8 badges. I'm right before the Elite Four, but I've never like Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. They never kept my attention for some reason. I don't know why.
I liked flying around on my Latias.
Yes,
That was cool.
Yeah.
One of the coolest parts of the game is they made flying fun, which is very different from every other Pokemon
Plus,
game.
you can find so many legendaries and so many new areas with the Latias.
Yeah, I remember when I booted that up. It's on my old YouTube channel. I just started crying, and I know that's because of nostalgia and because of how much I enjoy Gen 3 as a whole, which is probably why I like this game so much and hated some of the changes. Like I was kind of upset that Mauville is now a shopping mall, but I understand why.
Shopping City, Shopping City.
Yeah, there's a rant I have on my channel about that. But everything in the game, they pretty much stuck to keep what the game was. They updated graphics. They added the Poke Finder thing, which was pretty cool. That way, if you wanted to chain for shinies, that way you could also find Pokemon you wanted a lot quicker. But overall, it was just a massive nostalgia trip for me, if I'm being honest. And then I played Emerald right afterwards.
Yeah, and nostalgia's never exactly a bad thing. Not at all.
Nostalgia for the sake of nostalgia isn't that great, but using nostalgia to
Well, the internet begs to
Retell
differ
a
with
game.
that one.
Oh boy.
and then if no one else has anything to say about Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, I want to talk about what I think are the best Pokemon games. Sun and Moon.
I almost forgot this on your list.
Sun and Moon, I know some people really don't like them, but I loved how, for one, no more HMs.
Yeah, that was
two. They went away from badges for the trials, which I liked the trials. They were fun. They were interesting.
Yeah.
They were new. I loved that Game Freak was experimenting with Pokemon, which I'll have some complaints about that afterwards for other Pokemon games.
You mean the thing I just added to my list for this year?
I don't see anything added, and
I removed Final Fantasy VIII.
bad Jama. But the characters in the game felt like they were more fleshed out, and they've been doing that for a while. but also like they weren't obnoxious. I have some issues with
How?
I don't know. How is kind of annoying.
okay, how is kind of annoying. That doesn't mean he's obnoxious.
He gives you
Also-
food, but like still.
He does give you food. That's the only reason why I don't find him obnoxious.
So, I'm in the camp of liking Sun and Moon a fair amount for a lot of the same reasons you did. I like the new Pokemon. I like things like that. I like the
Oh,
different...
I didn't even start on the new forms of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like they added new forms that had different types.
Yep.
Like there's a Ghost Fire Marowak. It's awesome.
Electric Psychic Raichu.
Dude, that thing is so sweet.
And it surfs on its tail.
Yeah.
I like Ice Vulpix.
Ice
Oh,
Form.
that
Ice
thing is
Sandshrew.
adorable.
Ice Sandshrew looks like he's in a little bit more armor. It's adorable.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Alright,
yeah.
I am concerned about Steel Dugtrio.
Yeah, you know what?
That one is
how,
hilarious.
How about
Bop,
Executor?
ba-doo-ba-da,
Just, you know,
ba-dig,
like,
bop.
up and...
It's hilarious.
I also enjoy Sun and Moon.
I like Sun and Moon, but I like because it's not my favorite Pokemon game. I felt like I couldn't put it high. I didn't even put X and Y on my list, and that's my second favorite Pokemon game right now.
Oh
I
yeah.
love X and Y.
Solid.
Yeah, X and Y, I feel like that was the beginning of the games getting, or some of the games getting incredibly easy. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was very easy, but it was a
Sun
good
and Moon
time.
had some challenge to them.
Sun and Moon's biggest issue to me, like that helped with the challenge, is that trainers didn't give you a lot of money,
No, they didn't.
so you weren't able to just like hyper potion your way through every battle. Plus, I think in Gen, I
There
forgot
were
what
also
Gen.
a lot fewer trainers to grind on.
Yeah, I forgot what
Giggity.
gen it was, but something I started realizing around Gen 7 is like, oh yeah, they nerfed hyper potions.
Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
Gen 7.
yeah,
Which
hyper
is
potions
7.
were ridiculously like by the
Because
time you
100
got them, it's like you were already. It's like that's more the health than I have.
You never needed max potions either.
No,
Yeah.
you really didn't.
So
Also-
dropping them to 120 from 200 is a major like balance shift.
It's
Yeah.
a big nerf.
Also,
Yeah.
since you brought up X and Y, I hate all the rivals in X and Y.
I like Serena and Tierno.
Okay,
and
Serena's okay. I hate all the others.
Serena's
They're
your-
all
Oh, but
worthless.
Tierno.
Tierno just wants to go and explore the world and dance.
Yeah, he can do that and leave me the fuck alone.
Live your best life, bud. What's
Uh,
the point of dancing if you can't show it with your friends?
Not his friend. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
Oh, please.
I'm
Worse.
only talking about these because I was talking about Sun and Moon. They're Sun and Moon, except nothing new and no heart and everything's awful.
I mean, the
No,
only
there's
thing-
something new. There's those weird space people that change the
Everything
plot
is
minorly.
awful. Like
We-
it's basically just the exact same game.
Yeah, and then it adds a raid boss that was actually hard.
Oh yeah,
Shows-
that was so annoying because I crushed the entire game until I got to
Mega
Zekrom.
Necrozma. Mega
or
Necrozma.
Wrong game. Necrozma. And like I could not beat Necrozma. And
It's
then I
'cause
put the
it's
game down
basically-
for 6 months. And then I went back and beat Necrozma. And then I put the game down again and I haven't gone back.
I can understand that.
Right, we actually have another Pokemon game on the list, this time for Marsh. The Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee line.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
it
They
was.
looked adorable.
It was, and I liked one. You have your Pokemon that's on your shoulder the entire time, Pikachu or Eevee. Ryan Reynolds the Pikachu. I mean, because you can't at that point since what was it? Detective Pikachu was coming out. It's like
That was
Ryan
a
Reynolds
solid
is now
movie.
Pikachu. I still need to see it, but
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
and then having another Pokemon behind you. So once again, it's like whatever, and it didn't have to be the top one, like how Soul Silver had. That was like one of my key points about that. And
You also ride Arcanine.
oh yeah, that was awesome. The way it functioned, of course, like random battles, was just like Pokemon Let's Go, or Pokemon Go, the mobile app, which was okay. Like I kind of like that better than having to fight literally everything you ever run into, especially if you're going through a cave, and also being able to see them, so you can avoid the 500 Zubats that are in front of you, or at least avoid 3 of them. The like the way you can get shinies with that one, with just like yeah, keep capturing the same thing over and over again. You can actually see them, so it's not like you have to really work all that hard at it. I mean, you still got to a little bit, but like it wasn't like, okay, 3 hours later, I've seen 3 of these things. Why am I doing this to myself? And actually, I was one of the games where I got my first shiny that I didn't actually really have to work to get, which when I went into the Slipco, the Lapras they gave me was a friggin' shiny.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can I also just throw in the master trainers in the post game are fantastic.
Oh yeah, I
still
forgot
need
about
to,
those.
I still need to go and beat all of them at some point. But like the fact that they added a trainer for each and every single Pokemon in the game that you can only use that Pokemon against.
Oh well, how about the Ditto trainer?
So the thing is, the legendaries and Ditto, you don't fight them. You just show them a Pokemon with enough strength. So it's not just transform and then struggle.
Yeah, I know. That would still be hilarious. It's basically like whoever gets to go first and is stronger.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man. But I mean, it's little things like that that really adds a lot of enjoyment to it. Things that make you giggle.
My turn. Pokemon Sword. Yes, best Pokemon game to date.
Disagree.
I love the stripped down Pokedex. I love the story is the most honest to the conceit of the Pokemon series to date. It is gotta catch 'em all, become league champion. That I like. I like that we have competent adults for once that actually try to solve the problems before a 10-year-old needs to get involved.
But you still have to get involved.
At the very end of the goddamn game, once you've proven yourself to be, a rival to the champion.
True.
Like, you don't get involved until shit hits the fan until after you've cleared through what is the Elite Four at the time.
Except Hop gets involved at the same time when you've shown he's completely incompetent.
Yeah, but he was the one you beat to get to the finals. So he's like
I don't
the
know
third
how he
place.
got that far.
You got a point there. You got a big point there. It's like the entire time fighting Hop, it's like you got like 3 guys and none of them are
he just-
really.
First
Never
battle,
has
you
a
have
full
2
team of
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
I beat them both without taking a single point of damage.
Like, I love the wild area. I like raids. I like the weather patterns. I like just how interesting the world feels to me to explore. I like the theme, that like the English trappings. The cities have been interesting.
Don't get me wrong, I love the theme.
The characters are cool to me. I like the new Pokemon a lot. I like the new forms, even if Mr. Mime and Mr. Rhyme creep me the fuck
God.
out.
I don't like most of the new forms. Like, I like Ponyta and I like Farfetch'd. The rest
Farfetch'd
can-
is awesome.
The rest can go away.
Galar and
Like-
Weezing is amazing.
It's
And,
he's a sir. He's a sir.
He's a
Galarian
fairy.
Darmanitan, the Zen mode, I actually like too.
Oh yeah.
It's
one
a
thing,
snowman
Jama,
that breathes fire.
Jama, one of the things that I'm going to disagree with you on is on character-wise. To me, at least, you can correct me if you think differently, but I feel like there are only 4 fleshed-out gym leaders at all.
How many fleshed out gym leaders are in Gen 1 or 2 or 3? Like
No,
the gym leaders,
no, I understand that. I'm not.
like
for
the gym
the
leaders
charac-
aren't there to be obstacles. You get more you get more information about the gym leaders in this game than any others because you get you get 2 of their trainer cards.
True.
I can't argue with that.
I mean, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, you get a lot of shit about the gym leaders. Like, all 16 gym leaders, you learn a lot about them.
Oh yeah. See, and we are hitting the hour mark now. Just letting you guys know.
Yeah, there was something I was gonna say. It was in my brain and I forgot it. Like, because of the stripped down Pokedex, it actually has made me want to complete a Pokedex and get interested in competitive play. Because it's not an information overload.
Yeah,
I won't fault you for that, but I disagree with it because, like, personally, I want to have all the Pokemon. Why are you doing Cyndaquil so badly?
Why you gotta
Like
do me
Cyndaquil.
like this? Also, this is might be my favorite generation of starters since.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
I
the starters are
heavily,
solid. I like them.
I like their
Except for Grookey.
first forms.
I hate Grookey.
Oh, Grookey's great.
A monkey.
I think
Yeah.
I can't think of any second form which I like.
Yeah, they're all good.
It's
They're all
like-
good friends. Precious children.
Emo Child. Emo Child is great.
Emo child wanna be like grumpy, like I don't want to go practice, bunny, and fucking rebellious teenage band drummer monkey.
Yeah. Oh
Alright.
man.
Anyways, I like that game a lot. A lot of stuff I like. Good game. I have 100 hours and I keep planning on playing more. So,
Oh yeah.
Dragon Quest 9, Marsh.
Dragon Quest 9. Oh, that
Sentinels
was
of the Starry Skies.
yes. Biggest thing for me on that one. I have always loved Dragon Quest games. I've played a lot of them growing up, even if I've barely beaten most of them.
I mean, you have 3 different Dragon Quest games in your list.
Exactly. But at the same time, the big thing for this one, like
Oh, 4.
without the like just in the very beginning of the game, like right after you beat the first little dungeon, so it's not really on that far end, you can play the entire game in multiplayer. Like you can
Yeah.
have 4 friends sitting there playing through an
3
actual
friends?
RPG. Well, 3 friends. Well, you know.
You can have
You know
4
what?
friends.
The fourth one, he got there late, so he has to sit and watch.
He's the one with the strategy guide in his lap if you guys get stuck
Yeah.
with the guide open. And
And-
he's the one who like will tag in if someone has to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, or something like that. But yeah, no, that was one of the biggest things for me on that one. It's like you could actually play an entire RPG that's not an MMO. It's just a normal game. Like,
What what's cool to me about the Dragon Quest games and why like what I kind of appreciate about the demo I've played for Dragon Quest 11
mhm.
is that that's just a JRPG as JRPG.
Oh yeah,
That's a Final Fantasy 4 like straightforward, simple, you're just here for the ride.
oh yeah.
No, you don't have to worry about like materia shit or junction or learning skills through your equipment like a Final Fantasy game because they'll tinker with their formula.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you can see it as you're growing up.
This is just straightforward. You get your skills. I think in later ones there might be some branching paths or decisions to make like classes, but it's
Oh, yeah.
pretty straightforward.
No, it's pretty much like that throughout the entire game. It's like there'll be some growth, some more stuff will come up. But yeah, it's essentially like that through the entire time. So you can kind of get an idea of how you want to build. Granted, there are a few pieces on the board that are hidden until you surround so many spots around it for it to unlock. So you don't know what you're about to get. Could be something good, could be something worthless. But if it ends up being something worthless and you wasted a couple points on things you didn't really want, you can reset the thing. You're not just, well, you picked this, so you're stuck with it.
You can respec.
Exactly.
Right on.
I like games that allow you to respec easily.
Oh, yeah. Like, that is a big thing.
Does that hold through with Dragon Quest 8 or 7?
It's 8.
8 is not so much like that. You can't respec as far as I know. I've played it, I've beaten it once, the PS2 version, as well as I've played through most of it on the 3DS version.
Yeah, that's a 3DS re-release from
Exactly.
2018.
Exactly. Wait, 2018?
Maybe that's when you played it.
No, it's 2017.
2017. I was like, wait a second. No.
I just saw a red thing.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, with that one, there was a few key points that I thoroughly enjoyed. Like the main part of the game, it's already like as you say, a JRPG-ass JRPG. There was like some quality of life adjustments to it, where there's an item called the crackpot, which you can use to meld items together, make better items, like upgrade like 2 herbs into a strong herb or something like that, make weapons and all sorts of stuff. In the original, it took a while just to do one thing. So you'd be running around, eventually hear a ting, and like, oh hey, it's done, and you get attacked at the same time, and then you forget about it for 3 hours. But in the DS version, you could just as soon as you put something in there, it's like boom. Okay, well it's done. Cool.
And then Dragon Quest XI, which
And this is on my list too.
Oh yeah.
I still want to play it, so no spoilerinos, please.
Well, not spoilerino, but it's one of those RPGs where like like yeah, that's a good RPG, and I understand just saying that means nothing, but throughout the entire story, you're going to be captivated by not only like what's happening, by the characters. And I know that's a staple of RPGs is you start caring about the characters, but throughout the game you learn so much about them, as well as you see how they change, as well as the battle system is just a ton of fun.
Sometimes it's fun to just mash X through combat.
Sometimes.
I will say the only thing about the game that I thought was not the best, I'm not saying it's bad, is that the overworld and battle theme got a little stale.
Yeah,
That's
when you're listening to
ADR.
this, when you're listening to the same thing all the time. Like there's some games where you could listen to the music all day and it'll never get tiring, but
Oh,
doesn't
hell
go
yeah.
for all of
I
them.
just realized that if I bought the Switch version, I could have counted it as a 2019 game because that version came out this year. And it has
Right.
the what's it called mode, the 8 or 16-bit mode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
But the demo I played for it was, like you said, really charming. Like the opening, it's beautiful. Like it's striking. Like I don't need
think-
high res shit to be pretty. Like
I think I prefer the PS4 version from what I've seen, just because like I did play the demo on the Switch, and things like the draw distance were just kind of jarring for me. Because
I can understand that.
yeah, like it's the Switch. It's not as powerful as the PS4. There are going to be limitations, and since I already have the PS4 version, I'm just going to stick with that one when I play it.
my thought is, this is a game I can just play a little bit before bed, or just when I'm laying around the house. That's why I wanted to Switch.
Yeah, if I end up getting that one, which I'm thinking about it, I'm probably going to play the entire thing in 16-bit mode. To be honest.
And then Dragon Quest Builders 2. I played the demo of it.
Oh, same.
It definitely seems like the kind of game Marsh would enjoy.
I played both Builders demos, and I love the fact that you can lay out the. Sorry, Marsh, to kind of just jump in here on you.
You're good. You're good. We all
Like,
got things to bring up. So
The ability to save a floor plan, so you can just copy and paste a room in
Oh,
the
yeah.
future, is
You just have someone else
so
build it?
nice. Yeah. It's Minecraft, what with plot.
yeah, basically, it's Dragon Quest Minecraft. It's Dragon
Probably
Craft.
speed up. We got a lot of games.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing for me on Dragon Quest Builders 2, because there's a lot I thoroughly enjoyed about it, but at the same point, one of the key points I was really looking forward to was the multiplayer. It doesn't work like as the way I expected it. I guess I probably should have had my expectations a little lower, but
You both.
the way I was thinking of it, because it's like they did Dragon Quest 9, so maybe we can play the entire game multiplayer. No. You have your main hub island that you can do and build some crap there, and that's it. So the multiplayer is not. It doesn't add anything to the game, really.
The multiplayer is not.
Exactly. It's technically got multiplayer, but it just doesn't function like a normal multiplayer like you would. At least coming off of Dragon Quest 9, what I would have expected to happen there. Everything else is the same as like the original Dragon Quest Builders. They added some stuff to it, as you do with those games. But I mean, it was still solid. Just multiplayer it is not.
All right. And Golden Sun Dark Dawn, which
Yes. Oh,
I have
we're
also
just
played.
barely through the first.
No, we are
tier.
not, because we still have some with Jamas.
we also
Oh, yeah.
scattered. We also have a bunch scattered throughout too. So
Oh yeah, exactly. Golden Sun Dark Dawn. That's the only reason I put that on there is because I couldn't put the other Golden Sun games on there.
yeah, good call. We
'Cause
picked up the Golden Sun
It
games.
was. It definitely was. It's still enjoyable. One of the few things I didn't like about it was like how Like the original games, there was a little code you could put in the beginning, which it's a cheat code, but I mean, the only effect was you could name your people instead of only naming your main character and that's it. It's like, I like that little bit. And usually when it comes to games where it's like there's no voice acting, it feels like there's no point to not be able to name the characters. Like how Final Fantasy VIII does it. Doesn't make sense. I always like naming characters. But,
I want to name Sephiroth Poop Butt.
okay, so I understand not being able to name the enemies, because there's, like, I'm sure a lot of us have named the rival in Pokemon something unflattering. Like, first thing I named him was Fucker. And I was like, when Red and Blue came out, I don't know how old I was, but definitely not old enough to be talking like that.
I mean, if I could have named Hop, I would have named him Annoying.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's just a little thing. It doesn't add much to the game. It's still the same game in the end of the day, but it's just a little thing I like to do.
It has a couple. Like, it didn't feel as interesting. Like I don't remember the Jin system. Like, it felt more forgettable than the other ones. Like, I remember the Jin system from the other games a lot more than I remember it from that one.
Oh yeah, that is true. I mean, yeah, and trying to find all of them and whatnot. That was always a fun little thing to do. Like, you see him, it's like, oh, gotta get through a puzzle. How are you gonna get through this puzzle? It's like, oh, you're, you might hit him and he'll drop something for you to use that gives you the synergy that you need to be able to cast this spell or whatever to move this blocker.
Mixing and matching the Jin to get new classes and abilities was always fun, and that's what an early impression of another game we'll talk about later has given me. I have to play it more, but...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. My list. I've only got 2 more games on it because I only had 3.
Right.
I already talked about Birth by Sleep. Alpha Protocol. Based third-person action RPG. Where your conversations are timed, meaning you can't just linger on a discussion choice. You pick the tone of what you're saying instead of actual sentences, and people respond to different, like, if you're sarcastic with them in a lighthearted moment, they're going to react nicer to it than if you're sarcastic in a charged moment.
Right.
And all of this is almost every decision you make is tracked on a personality chart for that person. Like, you'll increase or decrease how much they like you, which impacts things later on. If you stealth a future mission may be easier because there's less security. If they know you stole something, if you do one mission before another, they're like, hey, this shit is missing. They're probably coming here next. Like, it's just a labyrinthine interaction map. The PC port is bad without a controller.
Bad day.
You need a controller to play it on PC. Otherwise, because the mouse sensitivity is off the walls.
Oh, and I'm sure you can't adjust it.
Not to a point where it's usable.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, no.
It's kind of like Mass Effect in that you can get different skills for your weapons, like the first one. But there's more of them than in Mass Effect 1. So, like, the pistol skill, your first one is Chain Shot, where you can slow down time, mark 3 targets, probably headshots, and then when you mark the last one, it'll just fire them off in rapid succession. Like, bam, bam, bam. There's different one for like a shotgun lets you do a charge shot that knocks enemies down and stuff like that. So, very interesting. Hacking can be a problem if you have issues with scrolling letters, but otherwise, enjoyable game.
Heck yeah.
Other one is Just Cause 2, which is just a mayhem simulator. Here, have a giant-ass island and a grappling hook that can cancel your momentum so you can grapple from the sky to the ground once you're close enough without shattering your body into 1,000 pieces. Good game. It's fun to just go into the world and cause mayhem by grappling on top of someone's car and then shooting a rocket at a statue to blow it up, and then leading the cops and then parachuting off the car as they start to panic. All right.
That does sound like fun.
2011, Tales of Xillia, PND.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, this is when the Tales series as a whole perfected the combat system for all of the games, because every game after it has used pretty much the same, not engine per se, but how everything works,
I can
as
agree
well
with
as
that. Combat system's very solid in Zillia.
in Zillia specifically, they added one of the optional main characters has an amazing ability. But before I get into that, this game allowed you to choose um, either a guy or a girl, each with their own different background. While it still follows the same story because they're in the same party, you get to see it from different perspectives based off how they've lived prior and how they interact with the world differently. And just the story itself, I love, as well as I love all of the characters. And I think it plays out extremely well.
I have one problem with Zillia's story, and that's that in order to experience it all, you have to play through as both characters when they share like 90% of everything already.
Um, I kind of, if you want the whole thing, yes. If you want explanations, but like some things could, I don't think you necessarily have to, but that's just me. As long as you choose there's one character where you get pretty much everything, and then the other one is just a little tidbits.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand.
It's a
And
Tales
then
game. It's solid.
Then I also have Tales of the Abyss for 3DS. Um, this being my favorite Tales game, with Zillia very close behind. Um, this game, I know me and Prof talked about this yesterday, and I know he disagrees. But I think that this game has the best character building out of all of them, as well as how you see it impact everyone else. Because the main character, I won't say what happens and whatnot, but he has an extremely big change throughout the game. And while I know Prof doesn't like him,
I hate him.
uh,
He's stupid.
Luke von Fabre, is he? I can see such a change in him that I'm like, it made me think about if I. It's a me thing, but like whenever I see a character change, like a big change, I think about myself, and I think it made me make some better decisions in life because of that. So it was really impactful for me.
Tales of the Abyss is the only Tales game I've played besides like a tiny bit of a PC port, I think, of Zillia that didn't run for garbage.
The PC ports are all basically garbage.
They all
It
are.
I
really
played-
sucks.
I played Abyss on PS2. I borrowed a friend's copy, and
Oh, you have
boy, does
unloading
the main
time.
character have some huge catastrophic shit happen to him.
Yeah.
The Tales games I like can't make this list because neither of them came out this decade. Although one of them did
Symphonia.
have a definitive edition released this decade.
But it
I
was
just
bad.
haven't played it, and that's Vesperia.
Oh, Vesper. Wasn't that like the PS1?
They added a pirate.
Wait. Oh, I thought Vesperia was 2011.
No, it came out in 2009.
You're right. You're right. Never mind.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I have to say about those games.
Dark Souls, a game that almost made my list, but I couldn't put on it.
I think everyone's played Dark Souls to some extent.
I have not
Yeah.
touched a Dark
Really?
Souls game.
I will say this: I have not finished Dark Souls 1.
Oh, I have.
I know you have, but the reason I put it up there is for the genre it pretty much created. Because I do like a good chunk of the things in that genre, but it was just such an impactful game to like a whole bunch of games that came after it. Because it's a thing, like you hear someone say something's hard in a game, they're like, oh, it's like Dark Souls, and even though it may not necessarily be, it created a niche for like having hard games. So then, not necessarily a niche, it was already there, but it brought it to the surface. It
It made it
streamlined. It streamlined it.
You could also see some of the mechanics brought into other games too. Hollow Knight uses you lose all your currency, you have to get it back from going to where you died, sort of thing.
Yeah.
From Dark Souls.
There's just a whole bunch of stuff like that, like
Which
what it became.
I suppose that is actually just another thing of in like a Diablo game where you would drop a bunch of your shit if you died.
Right.
But
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Dark Souls.
Dark Souls is a game I liked, not loved. I like a lot of its design. I like its environment, not its environmental design, but I like its map building. way that there are lots of shortcuts through once you clear a new area, there's typically a shortcut back to an old area. It's very methodical, but the controls are just really stiff and unforgiving at times.
Yeah.
As is the terrain.
One other thing I have to add is one of the good things about also is there's lore if you want it.
I hate that. I hate that because it leads to the whole, oh well, if you're a real fan, you'd know blah blah blah.
Oh, I don't really care about that. It's just like if I wanted to care, I easily could because of everything they put in the game.
I hate games that foster that sort of mindset in people, yeah. Which is why I actually resisted playing the game for so long, is because when I would go on comment sections on like articles and stuff about different games, and I'd see Dark Souls shit, it was just insufferable.
Yeah.
Alright, Infamous 3?
Infamous 2, which came out for the PS4. It was one of the first... It was one of the early games in the PS4, which is what led me to play it.
That was Second Son. That was the third Infamous game.
Oh, well, it's called Infamous 2. Wait, no, this is Second Son.
Yeah, Infamous 2 was a PS3 game.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's my bad. I meant Second Son.
I have
happens.
I have Infamous 1 and 2. I don't like Infamous 1. I have issues with it.
Interesting premise. Kind of not a great place to explore.
Yeah.
But how was Second Son?
I thought it was really good because it's one of the first games that I at least experienced where there's the good, your good or bad system. And around that, it provided different skills based off, I think it was called your morality for it, and different things you did in game would affect that. And I hadn't really experienced that before, and it's one of the games where they're a 20-25 hour game, but I actually would go through again just to play the other side to see how it impacted the world. As well, I found it very fun to run around because one of the abilities you get is to go fast, and it was a really good time doing that.
I know Infamous 1, one of the early options is a food drop happens, and you can either let people take stuff, or zap the shit out of them and take it for yourself.
Mine.
Yeah, a lot of the morality choices in games like Infamous I find really dumb.
Binary and jarring.
That's one fair. In particular isn't that bad, but there were some later on that were just like, oh hey, you could kill this random person. Or not.
It's like the whole thing of oh, my cat's stuck in a tree. Good option. I'll get it out for you. Bad option. Burn the tree to the ground with the cat up.
Yeah.
What? That's so extreme.
Yeah.
You can just walk away or charge
walk away. Just walk away.
Or charge them money to do it. Things like that.
It's like, I'll get it, but if you don't pay me, I'm taking it.
That's why in my platform, the Jama Paragon system will be based on the D&D alignment system. So you have 9 alignments to... No, it's not.
I much prefer NPCs recognize what you've done, that they've heard of, kind of like what you were saying for Alpha Protocol.
Yeah. All right. Prof, Portal 2.
Portal 2. It's Portal 1, but better. And multiplayer. That's really all there is to say about it.
I liked Portal 1 because it was a nice tight 4 hours and everything felt good.
Portal 2 is much longer, but it definitely has sections where it's like, okay, you can set this down now.
Yeah.
Anything you have to add, Marsh?
PND and I played it. It was fun. It was pretty neat. It was about what I expected the game to be. That's about it.
Portal 2 had Space Core. I suppose that's a point in its favor.
The one problem I have with Portal 2 is the multiplayer after you've done it the first time.
There's nothing else.
Yeah.
Aren't there community levels made?
Yeah. There are. And then there's Aperture Tag as well, which was also really fun, being able to use the gels. But that's...
But I assume it suffers from the same thing that most puzzle games suffer from once you've beaten it and you internalize the solution. And especially in a multiplayer one when you can just carry another person through it.
The only thing I had any issue with was realizing you could cover boxes in the gels to get the boxes to change how they work. yeah, that was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Me too.
Batman. Arkham City.
I really like the Arkham games. Arkham City is definitely the best of them. It's got the most interesting villains, the most interesting abilities. If you've played an Arkham game, you probably know what I mean. If you haven't, I'd suggest playing one. I'll talk about Spider-Man eventually if we get there. But it's a fairly similar game to that. Like the Arkham games allowed the Marvel Spider-Man game that came out last year to be made, basically.
Another way to put it is they're similar to the Assassin's Creed model of games, like the early ones, with the block, parry, attack sorts of things. But it feels a lot more impactful because you're Batman, not some flighty, like flippy little assassin dude.
There's also like a thing telling you when you're about to be attacked, which really helps.
Yeah. I personally liked Asylum more than City because, again, I like those tight, controlled, like, give me something that's tight and focused instead of big and expansive that can sometimes just be like filler. But that's just a personal preference.
Well, yeah, and sometimes those big ones, it's just way too much to do, and then...
Plus, Scarecrow.
Scarecrow is in Arkham City, just not as much.
Yeah,
I like Ra's al Ghul. So
yeah, the assassins.
Yeah.
All right.
I have one other game, Dead Island. It's awful. Don't play it. It's like Borderlands and Left 4 Dead combined in the worst ways possible. And there's durability for weapons and a stamina system, and it's garbage.
Good trailer, bad game.
Yeah.
All right. Marsh.
Okay, for what, 2011?
Yeah, Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft is for everyone. I didn't actually get into that anywhere near that point. It was more like a couple years ago. But, I mean, for a sandbox game, it's pretty much you see what you get. I like building shit. Yeah, I swear every time I've ever played that game, I always just end up making a gigantic mine, gathering up a crap ton of rocks, and then building a giant castle.
Or making a pixel art crab from Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
Oh yeah, I did do that once.
It's Minecraft.
It's Minecraft.
If you haven't played it, who the hell are you?
So, I got into this back in 2010 when it was in the alpha stage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a game that I can. So normally I don't like saying, "Oh, mods are the reason to buy a game," like because that just feels bad to me. Because if I don't enjoy the base game, adding a mod seems unfair to it, which is why I push back against every Bethesda game.
Ever.
I enjoy Minecraft on the base level.
Oh yeah.
I enjoy it with mods. Like, Minecraft is a game that is one of the most chill experiences I can have. It's a great podcast game or music game where you just put something on and you just zone out, go explore space. It's part of the reason why I like No Man's Sky, but I couldn't put it on my list because when it launched it was bad. I didn't want to put one of the expansions on there. Well,
Right.
I shouldn't say it wasn't bad because it did exactly what I wanted it to do, but not what other people wanted. But I didn't play it at launch, so...
Understandable.
Minecraft, people have done so many cool things with it. Just the base game, like calculators and music composition using the note blocks. People have found ways to emulate, like, do pseudo emulation in it. Because I saw someone running Pokemon in it in a weird way. Not like the full game. It might have just been a screen that they could hit a button and it would move something on screen, or it would reference like a website or something.
But I mean, still, being able to do that is pretty neat.
You can do a redstone, like, with the default items, you can do a counter, where if you hit a button, it'll, like, light up redstone torches in a certain way to make, like, a clock display.
Oh, dang.
Like, it's crazy. And it's just, it's a very zen and relaxing game, and it spawned all sorts of spin-offs, knockoff sequels, people trying to imitate it and adding crafting into games.
Dragon Quest Builders.
I was about to say.
I'm not going to deny that one bit. I mean, that's essentially what it is, and that's literally how I described it
There's
earlier.
another one that's on my list that I'll get to in a bit that's came about probably specifically because of how well the alpha and beta were doing in 2010. Um, anyways, L.A. Noire, Marsh.
Ah, yes. Basically, it's like Grand Theft Auto, except you're not supposed to kill people. I
But it
say
seems
there's
like
a lot more to it than just that. Of course, it's like you're playing a detective in the old timey days. I don't remember exactly what year it's supposed to be set up in. I know it's like 60s, 70s, maybe 50s or something like that. Might even be 40s. I don't remember. It's been forever since I played it. But I did enjoy like the different little like trying to solve a crime scene. One of them I was actually, I don't know why I was surprised about it, but there was like an actual naked body there. It's like, well, it's
it's
an
set in the 40s.
yeah, it's rated M too, so that kind of makes sense. Um, yeah, just little things like just being able to go through a crime scene, like find clues and whatnot, like they would back in the day before they really had a whole lot to work with. Like,
Press
oh,
X to doubt.
exactly. They didn't have that back in the day. Let me tell you, I feel like they needed
You had
that.
to punch him to doubt.
Exactly. Oh Jesus! But it was I still need to actually finish it because it's there's so many of these games I've started and never actually gotten to complete. But it definitely seemed like one that would be enjoyable to replay multiple times and to see how many different ways you can like figure out what's going on, who killed who, see if there's ways to change the story. I mean, I'm sure there's, of course, you can. This is the age of the internet, so you can look all that shit up. But like, there's something to be said for actually going in and actually doing it yourself, figuring things out yourself, playing it blind, not with a strategy guide in your freaking lap. But aside from that, there's not much else to that one that I really have to add.
All right, then Dragon Age 2.
Ah, yes, it was so much better than Dragon Age 1, mostly because I hated the controls in Dragon Age 1. It was definitely a solid game regardless, but Dragon Age 2 definitely made a lot of improvements with how combat worked. It was a lot more fluid. It felt like it was happening then, not just like the other one where you open up I feel like it was you just open up a menu, select what attack you want to do or whatever the hell. It just felt so clunky. Whereas 2 was smooth. Like everything that I felt was wrong with 1 was fixed. And it felt like it was more of an enjoyable sequence. There's a bunch of different ways, of course, a lot of these RPGs go. There's more than one way the story's going to go, depending on what class you pick. It's like in the beginning, it's like this is the type of world where, like, oh hell, what was it? Like the magic, mages and whatnot. I couldn't think of mage. Wow. Um, like they were feared because of their power and whatnot, and there was mages that would go to like blood magic and whatnot, and I don't know, it was just a thoroughly enjoyable game overall. After playing the first one, it's just the first one has made me rage quit more times than I can count.
And last on your list, the first MMO on the list, Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yes. Yeah, that was the second MMO I've ever played. Because for the longest time, I'd played WoW, game I told myself in high school I'd never actually touch because I had self-respect and then quickly lost it. Um,
You had self-respect.
I know, it's shocking, right? But it was one of the things I really liked about that one is it's like it felt like you could actually kind of play it by yourself. Like, and even then, it was not like an actual detriment. Like you could still just do things. You had your shit. Well, I mean, from what I've seen, it kind of plays a little bit like the Mass Effect a little bit. I mean, it's same company that built it.
Same devs.
Exactly. And with the amount of voice acting in that compared to playing World of Warcraft back in the day, which I think was the Burning Crusade Wrath Lich King area, it's like it just felt like there was just so much more to it. Only downside was after it wasn't all that long it went to free to play and then just felt like it went downhill quickly. I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to it from there, but did enjoy the crafting in that. It wasn't much different than WoW. just pick what you want to make, and boom, it's done. You can make your own lightsabers. That what I thought was cool. It's like you could change the freaking crystal in there to change what color it is. So of course mine was always green because everything I use is green. Yes, it always is. But overall, I mean, at this point, it's basically just an MMO. But I did enjoy it immensely back when it first came out. Have not kept up with it though, so I could not tell you what it's doing now.
All right. Then it's just me for 2011. I have Terraria, which is just 2D Minecraft, more focused on exploration than building.
Oh yeah.
Spent a lot of time with that one. And then Saints Row the Third. While Saints Row 2 is probably my favorite Saints Row game, Saints Row the Third is my second favorite because it differentiated itself from the Grand Theft Auto series that it was constantly compared to by just being over the top, bombastic, and silly, which is what Grand Theft Auto kind of used to be before GTA 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like Saints Row 2 is kind of like San Andreas a lot, where it's like there's some goofiness, but there's also some really serious stuff in it. Whereas Saints Row 3, the seriousness takes a backseat to some of the more over the top. Like it sounds like it plays like a buddy cop movie.
Oh, okay.
Or a buddy like action movie. Like you have the wisecracking characters at all times, making jokes while in the middle of a firefight type thing.
It's also especially good in multiplayer.
Yeah.
I will add that Saints Row the Third is also my second favorite Saints Row game, with Saints Row 4 being my favorite, just because, and I don't remember if I put it on my list, but like Saints Row 4 is Saints Row 3, except you have superpowers because why not?
Because you're in a digital space.
It's really fucking stupid and hilarious.
Alright. I might have to two-part this.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're already hitting that hour and a half mark, and
Alright, let's just whip through 2012 real quick. We're going to start with the ones that we have multiples of here, okay?
all right.
Okay.
So PND, Fire Emblem Awakening.
Oh yeah, so this
On
is
yours, mine, and Marsha's list.
This is the first Fire Emblem game I ever actually played.
Oh.
So it introduced me to the entire series itself.
Yep. Exactly.
Same with you.
Like, I
And
knew of it, I never played it.
And I love what it did with the entire series. It was such a good time, and it also gave, because this was my first Fire Emblem game. The first time I played through it was on casual. That way I didn't have to deal with permadeath, because that was something I didn't want to deal with when I started.
I
the
started
game.
with permadeath.
I mean,
I
at that
went
point, you
back
just
and-
restart the level.
Exactly. That's pretty much what I did. Yeah, this, I say, I'm probably the only one here that hasn't had this as my first one. This was actually the third Fire Emblem in the series that I'd played, because when the 2 on the Game Boy Advance came out, back whenever the hell that was, because I'm horrible at keeping up with times, this, having the option to have casual, was so nice, because the number of times that I had reset a level because I'd done something stupid, or it's like I just couldn't get out of a situation, was so damn high. And I don't know, it's like not having to worry about someone getting killed. Like okay, they'll be there next time.
Yeah, it was very good for like a starter. at
Oh
least
yeah.
for me.
It was a
So-
very good introductory point to the series.
Oh definitely.
Which is why it sold so well.
I also had a limited edition Fire Emblem Awakening 3DS, so
Oh, I remember you talking about that on Twitter.
A lot of Fire Emblem games don't actually make it to the U.S. for a
Yeah.
long time,
Yeah,
which
we-
is part of the problem.
Yeah, we didn't get them until the Game Boy Advance, and at that point we got Fire Emblem 6 or 7.
like Sacred
7.
Stones or whatever it was.
Yeah,
7 on.
yeah.
Because 6 is Roy's game.
Oh yeah, okay, so we got 7. Roy's game never actually came out in the US. The only way we can play it is with ROM hacks that have just a
And
translation.
translations.
Exactly. Gotta
And then
love the
there's-
people that do those.
Speaking of translations, some of the games that do make it to the U.S., oh boy, their translations.
Yeah.
Alright, now PND has 2 games that none of us have on our list. So we're going to start with Kid Icarus Uprising for the 3DS.
So this is my favorite 3DS game, actually. because this game took, because I knew nothing about Pit or Kid Icarus at all, aside from the fact that Pit was in Smash Brawl, and this made me love the character because in this game it splits up all levels into two things. They're either the first half is like on the rails shooter, and the second one is like a battle combat system. And both of these feel really good once you get used to it. It takes probably about at least the on rail shooter takes about half an hour to get used to, and then it's flawless. The battle system itself was great. They added, I think, 10 different types of weapons Pit could use on the ground because there's like gauntlets, which is what spawned him to have his new side B in Smash 4, and everything like that. And they just, it has so much life to it, as well as, in my opinion, it's Hades is one of the best villains Nintendo has ever created because he has so much personality. You can tell that like there's something, but you don't know, and it just made me love the entire series because of the characters, the solid gameplay, and everything you could do with the game. I think on 3DS it tells you how much you've played a game. I think I've played that game almost as much as I've played Smash Ultimate, which is currently clocking at 400 hours.
Damn.
I played Kid Icarus Uprising. It's a solid game. Not my kind of game, though.
Fair enough.
It does take some weird getting used to using the touch screen.
Yeah, but as soon as you get used to it, it's good.
Yeah, and I just couldn't get used to it.
Okay, and your first indie game on the list is Dust and Elysian Tale. Which is
Yeah,
an
and
Xbox
so-
Live arcade game.
So this game, I played it when it came out on PC, but
Same.
this game is essentially it's a Metroidvania with a sword. The best way I can describe it. And it has a whole bunch of unique combat, at least I find unique combat system. But you can only do with it what you will because there is a way to cheese it, and I figured that out at the end of the game. But you can shoot out these like kind of little power pellets, but then your sword can use wind stuff, so you just see sparks going all the way around the screen, like interacting with each other, and I thought that was a fantastic way, and all the combat was beautiful.
Yeah, it's interesting because your Navi-like character is the one that shoots the magic out, and you can either just let it do its thing, or you can amplify it with your weapon.
Yeah.
It's definitely a fun game. I ran into some glitches.
Pretty
Oh boy, did
impressive
I run
for
into some glitches.
such a small studio, like a small development team too. Might even been just like one or two people. So
Yeah. I mean, I got out of bounds accidentally.
You did.
Like, it
So-
was completely accidental.
pretty ambitious at the time, 2012, and was pretty much really early in that Metroidvania style when that started to.
The Metroidvania revival.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. That's it for PND. We have Prof with Borderlands 2, which
Borderlands
oh my god,
2.
it feels so much older than that.
I put so many hours into Borderlands 2. It's the epitome of a loot and shoot. It's basically like Diablo, except first-person shooter. I love Borderlands 2. Borderlands 1, I also love. Not as much. The other Borderlands games, well, I haven't played 3, and the pre-sequel I don't like.
You love it so much you forced me to play it.
Yeah, I did. I have to
Nice.
force you to play it.
I still need to play it myself.
I'll force everyone to play it. I love the game.
A
And then there's Animal
post-apocalyptic
Crossing
looter
on-
shooter.
Completely opposite side of things, Animal Crossing.
This New Leaf?
Yeah, this would be New Leaf.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Animal Crossing back in the day. I just like collecting things, and you know, you get attached to your little villagers, and eventually you pay off your house theoretically.
Yeah.
Then he gives you a new expansion and he doesn't charge interest.
I know, right? Such a good deal, even though you didn't ask for it and didn't want it.
Right. Too bad you get it anyways.
Although, in New Leaf, he doesn't actually build it unless you ask for it. But yeah, I'm really excited for Animal Crossing coming out next year.
Oh yeah, on the Switch, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right, Marsh. Final
Okay.
Fantasy 3.
All right.
Is
So
that the PC release of it?
no, I believe that's the PSP version, the PSP
Okay.
release.
So I
I
remember
just wanted
playing
to talk about early
a
Final
DS
Fantasy
release
games.
too.
Yeah, that one came out I think in 2009. I'm honestly not sure
Yeah, the
when
DS
that one.
release came out a long time ago.
Yeah, but the PSP didn't come out till like 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. At least when I looked it up earlier. So I love and hate that game. There are some things about it, but I mean, there's so many different Final Fantasy games. I don't think I have enough time for this particular recording to go into that. So I'll just go into this one here with a little bit of one other. So it's the first game that actually had the job system, where your characters could switch between different classes. You could have white mage, black mage, monk, thief, and basically a lot of the ones that are actually current today. And those were classes that they had made on the NES when the game first came out. So basically, things like Dragoon and whatnot, a lot of those, if not most of all of them, originated from this one. One thing I didn't care about this version as opposed to other ones, in order to when you swap your classes, the
Fatigue.
yeah, the
That drain or whatever. That you had to wait like 10 battles or 12
Yeah,
battles to
I
live.
really didn't like that.
yeah, that is the worst thing that they did.
Punish me game for experimenting.
I have
Exactly.
some other problems with Final Fantasy 3.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly just like it never being clear where you're supposed to go, and sometimes you have to do very, very specific things. When it's like, hey, go up to the mountain and rescue this guy. But if you don't talk to one specific NPC, you can't do that.
Yeah, yeah, you could walk up to that spot, nothing will happen.
Yeah, it's really frustrating.
That does sound frustrating.
Yeah, but backtracking a little bit back to the job system there, one thing that I wish that they wouldn't have changed, the NES version did not have that fatigue.
Yeah.
What you would get per battle or so, you get like so many points, and you accumulate these points in order to swap the classes. And it worked kind of the same way. It's just it took more points depending on what class you're switching to, how different they are, and whatnot, and also how many levels you have in that class. Like
You were like statistically punished when you do switch.
exactly. It's like, okay, if you made a bad decision, you just go grind a little bit, get some of those points back, but at the same point, you're not weakened during these fights, too. So if you're in a new area, which pretty much every new area in this game will kill you, if you don't do a little bit of grinding, yeah, you're basically screwed. So at least in the PSP or the newer version, since they're all essentially the same, yeah, save often. That's the biggest thing. Save often.
I
No.
never like it when people who are recommending a game tell me, just remember, save often.
Exactly.
But not too often.
No, save every time you have a
often
chance.
Just every second.
Yes.
Save.
After every battle.
You took a step? Oh, you should save
Well,
it.
I remember watching you play Final Fantasy 3, and a monster does an attack that you didn't know it had twice
Yeah.
before you can react and kills your entire party.
Yep. I just got my entire group flamethrowered, and it's like, okay. Every other attack that every other monster's doing is like doing like maybe 30, 40, maybe 50, close to 100. I can deal with that. Then this thing, which gets to attack twice in a turn, which I hate, does flamethrower. 300 on the entire party. It's like, oh shit, I need to heal. And then went before I even had a chance to heal again on the next turn, wiped me out, and it's like, I don't know how long it's been since I saved.
Yep. That'll take the wind out of your sails.
Yeah, but I mean, it's for something I'm doing, so I'm playing through all the games. So it's like I have to do it again, whether I want to or not, and it happened.
Right, Diablo 3.
Ah, yes, Diablo 3. I played a lot of 1 and 2. If I had a choice to put, well, honestly, I still think 2 is the better of all of them.
Oh man, Diablo 3 had so many problems for like the first year.
Oh god, the
Real money auction house, baby.
yeah, that was some dumb stuff. Like, I don't mind the auction house, to a point, but when it introduced the real money auction house, it's like, are you guys fucking stupid? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people made some money off of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the same point, at that point, the chances for items drop, like the legendaries and whatnot, dropping were really low.
Yep.
So good luck. But oh, fucking hell. I mean, otherwise, ignoring that, the gameplay itself, I found it was interesting, but it didn't feel like it had as many like.
They pared it down.
Yeah.
Because it was like, from what I played of it a couple years ago, it was like, okay, here are these abilities you have for slot 1. Like,
Yeah.
these are your like your approach abilities, or your ranged attacks, or whatever, depending on the class, or your traps.
Yeah.
And you can switch, but you unlock this first trap at level 6, and this next trap at level 12, and this next trap at level 24, but you can only use one of them at a time.
Yeah, which I felt like at a certain point, it's like if I can learn all these, let me do all of these.
Yeah.
Let me be a trap bastard.
Right. Which will tie in nicely to a game I have coming up for this year, the same year.
Nice.
Castle Crashers, Marsh.
Castle Crashers. Oh, that game is fun and irritating at the same time.
Don't play the
Yeah.
Fire Knight. There's so many things resistant to fire in the game.
Lightning Knight murders everything with magic.
Yeah.
And just all the other characters you can unlock with that too.
Everything dies.
It's
There's
fun
so
with
many
friends.
characters.
Yeah, it is definitely a fun friends game sometimes, depending on who you're playing with. Like
Also,
I
you kill each other to kiss a princess.
exactly. You want to bang a princess? Well, you better kill your friends.
It's just awful if someone decides to use potions, PND.
Hey, I'm right here.
Explicitly after a no potions agreement, PND.
Yeah, PND.
I don't remember this no potions agreement.
We have it on
Recorded.
video,
It's on
PND.
I know you have it on video.
Oh damn!
All right.
PND.
I wanted to win.
I knew that was gonna come up, so that's that.
I completely forgot about that.
It was when we recorded with Lasso.
Yeah, I remember.
All right, last set of games for 2012. 3 of them. First one, Sleeping Dogs. An underrated game. It was another open world GTA-like where you play as a Chinese. It takes place in China. Plays an undercover cop going through trying to infiltrate the different gangs in the area. Really interesting. The melee combat is great, and you're supposed to be engaging in melee more than firearms because firearms aren't common. Driving had on-road notification system, which is always nice. If I remember, it was easier to find my way around that game than some other games because they don't always do the on-road navigation.
Right.
Didn't Sleeping Dogs get you into the Halo 3 beta or something?
I never played Halo, so I don't think so because I played this on PS3.
There was some game like it. I've heard of Sleeping
Maybe
Dogs,
on
but I haven't
Xbox
played
it let you do that, but not. I didn't get into it. But I liked it a lot. Enjoyable enough open world game. Learning your melee combos was really fun. It kind of felt like a this is kind of going to be a weird thing, but it kind of felt like a Dynasty Warriors or Moso, however that's pronounced, type game
Muso.
because your combos are like light, light, heavy, heavy, or heavy, light, light, things like that, or heavy, like light, 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 heavy, and that changes the finishing move.
Mm-hmm.
But it also had grabs and dodges like the Arkham games.
Oh, I was wrong. It's Crackdown.
Now we get into my
Heard of that.
indie game section. The first one is FTL, Faster Than Light, space exploration strategy game. You could pause it to issue commands. It's a roguelite. So you're going through different galaxies, running from somebody trying to evade an enemy force. You go through each sector, trying to hop from star to star, getting random things at different places. A lot of good fun.
I like FTL, but I've
very hard.
never been good at it.
Very hard, but fun. And then my last one is Torchlight 2. Torchlight 2 is a sequel to Torchlight, which filled that gap of we don't have a Diablo game since like 2003.
Right.
Even though Diablo 3 came out the same year.
Torchlight 2 came out the same year. Torchlight 1 filled that gap. So this was a sequel to
Oh,
the one that was
right.
the gap filler.
Fair enough.
Torchlight 2 came out a couple months after Diablo 3, and it does a lot of the things Diablo 2 did. It has a lot of skills for you to learn. It has a lot of passive abilities for you to pick up as well, to just get stat bonuses and things like that. You get to have an animal companion who acts like an extra, like you can put gear on them. They can carry their own types of gear, like collars and weapons. But you can also store your extra items on them and send them back to town, and they'll sell what's in their inventory for you.
Huh.
It has mod support, so there are mods to add like extra animal companions that are basically the same but just look different, so you can have whatever you'd like. It kind of has an inspired by Warcraft art design, where it kind of looks Warcraft 3E, but it also seems a lot brighter because there's a lot of neon glowing colors because of the elements and stuff like that. So if you're looking for an action RPG and Diablo 3 isn't quite doing what you're looking for, this isn't a bad loot game.
I gotcha.
And with that, that's the end of 2012 and some other stuff. We've covered a lot of games from future
3 years and a bunch of games and series.
Yep.
So we don't have to talk about all of them at different times.
Yep. We'll try to get through more of this as we can. I don't think anyone else had any. Yeah, none of those are related. So,
I mean, there's some like Final Fantasies, but honestly, talking about Final Fantasies separately makes sense, I think.
Yeah,
and
they're
then
not
there's
all the
same
same.
with Fire Emblem. Because there's me and Marsh both have 3 houses.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
Three Houses is it's another launching point like Awakening was, but it had so many different things in it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So we'll be back with another edition of this when we can, because we got a lot to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we do.
So
2013 is the first year I had 5 games in it. Most of my lists are very short.
So mine haven't been filled yet either. So
Mine are always long.
Yeah, because you can't decide.
Hey, I like things too